Space tourism is no longer just a dream, it's becoming a reality. Imagine taking a trip beyond Earth, seeing our planet from space, and experiencing zero gravity. What was once only for astronauts is now within reach for ordinary people. While it's still expensive and only a few can afford it, space tourism is making the way for a new era of travel, one that could change how we see our world and our place in the universe. In this video, we will tell you everything about space tourism, its origin, cost, and the companies that offer private space tourism. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get regular updates. Let's get started. The origins of space tourism. The concept of space tourism dates back to the mid-20th century when space travel was still in its infancy. As a result of the space race in the 1960s, which was mostly between the US and the USSR, people all over the world became interested in going into space. But these early trips were only led by the government. The idea of regular people going to space was still a long way off. Dennis Tito, an American businessman, was the first person to visit space as a tourist in 2001. This was a big step forward for space tourism. It is said that Tito paid $20 million for a seat on a Russian Soyuz spaceship. He spent 8 days on the International Space Station, ISS. His trip started a new business, but because of the high costs and limited possibilities, space tourism was still a luxury that only the very rich could afford. The emergence of private space companies. The big push for space tourism started in the early 2000s when private space companies started to get started. Big thinkers like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson want to make it easier for everyone to go to space. Their companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, have been at the forefront of making spaceships and technology that will allow people to fly to space for business reasons. Richard Branson started Virgin Galactic, which was one of the first companies to try to offer space tourism. The company's Spaceship Two can take 6 people plus 2 pilots to the edge of space, where they will feel weightless for a few minutes and have stunning views of Earth. After years of testing and development, Virgin Galactic completed its first fully crewed flight with Branson on board in July 2021. This was a big step forward for the business. Similarly, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin made news when it sent its first crewed trip into space on the New Shepard rocket in July 2021. Bezos, his brother Mark, flying pioneer Wally Funk, and a student who is 18 years old were on the flight, showing the wide range of people who might want to go to space. Blue Origin's New Shepard has a suborbital experience that takes people just past the Kármán line, which is the accepted edge of space. Elon Musk's SpaceX, on the other hand, has been working on bigger projects like sending people to the Moon and Mars. SpaceX sent the Inspiration 4 mission into orbit around Earth in September 2021. It was the first flight with only civilians on board. The mission, which was paid for by millionaire Jared Isaacman, was in orbit for 3 days and was a big step toward making space easier for people who aren't professional astronauts to get to. The experience of space tourism. Space tourism is like nothing else because it combines the thrill of adventure with the awe-inspiring beauty of space. Different companies and missions offer different kinds of experiences for space tourists. Some offer suborbital trips that let people feel weightlessness for a short time, while others offer longer orbital missions that let people stay in space for longer periods. At the moment, the most popular way to visit space is on a suborbital flight, like those offered by Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin. Usually, these trips last between 10 and 15 minutes and take people to heights of around 100 kilometers. There, they can feel weightless for a few minutes and see how the Earth curves against the blackness of space. A lot of people say that the best part of the trip is being able to look out of big windows and see the Earth from above. A more immersive experience can be had on orbital trips like those offered by SpaceX. For several days, these trips put people in orbit around Earth, where they can do experiments, enjoy the view, and even sleep in zero gravity. At the moment, orbital flights are more expensive and less frequent than suborbital ones. However, they are the next step in the development of space tourism. The cost of space tourism. Despite the advancements in technology and the growing interest in space tourism, the cost of these trips remains prohibitively high for most people. Suborbital flights with Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin are priced at around $250,000 to $450,000 per seat, while SpaceX orbital missions can cost tens of millions of dollars. These prices reflect the significant expenses involved in developing and launching spacecraft, as well as the limited availability of seats. However, as with many new technologies, the cost of space tourism is expected to decrease over time. Economies of scale, increased competition, and advancements in reusable rocket technology could eventually make space travel more affordable for a broader range of people. Companies like SpaceX are already working on reducing costs by developing fully reusable rockets, such as the Starship, which could significantly lower the price of space travel in the future. The environmental impact of space tourism. The number of people going to space has led to worries about how it will affect the world. Rockets used for space travel release a lot of carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the air, which makes climate change worse. There aren't many space tourism flights right now, but as the business grows, there could be a lot more rocket launches, which would make environmental problems worse. Concerns like these are being taken into account by some businesses. Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket, for instance, runs on liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, which give off water vapor as their main output. But the process of making these fuels still leaves a mark on the Earth. The Spaceship Two from Virgin Galactic has a mixed rocket motor that burns both solid and liquid fuels, which causes some pollution. There are efforts to make greener propulsion systems, but making space travel truly sustainable is still a big problem. The business will have to find a way to balance the need to explore space with the duty to protect the environment on Earth. The future of space tourism. For space tourists, the future is exciting. SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic have made a lot of progress, which makes it look like spaceflight will become easier to get to over the next few decades. But there are still big problems, such as high costs, worries about safety, and effects on the environment. In the years to come, space tourism will likely change in some ways. First, there will probably be more places to go. At the moment, most space tourism involves short trips to low Earth orbit or suborbital space. But in the future, missions could include stays on space stations, trips around the Moon, or even trips to Mars. SpaceX, for instance, is already making plans for its first private mission to the Moon. This could lead to bigger trips in the future. Second, building hotels and habitats in space could make space tourism a longer and more involved experience. Commercial space stations that could be used as hotels, study centers, and factories are being built by companies like Axiom Space and Orbital Assembly Corporation. People could stay and work in these space stations for weeks or even months at a time. Lastly, as space tourism grows in popularity, it will likely bring in a wider group of people from different backgrounds. Space tourists today are mostly wealthy people, but as costs go down and possibilities grow, space travel might become more open to everyone. This opening up of space to more people could motivate a new generation of explorers and help people feel more connected to the universe. That's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed watching the video. Let me know if you are also excited about the space tour and exploring the celestial bodies. Before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing updates. Thank you.